Welcome in, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast, and it is a good day to be a big blue fan.
Can I please have your attention?
There's all a commotion around here.
What are you talking about?
Let them yap at you.
It's actually very exciting.
Welcome in, guys. It's Brad with College SportsCast. This is the Big Fuss Show, and we are here tonight after Kentucky takes down number 5 Tennessee at Rupp Arena 75-70, 64. I got Hammonds here with me. What's up, Hammonds?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Pretty good night. But we'll get started here with our Facebook. If you're on Facebook, you can help support us, and we would appreciate that by sending stars, or you can subscribe to our Facebook page. That does give you your own chat that I was in tonight while I was talking, while the game was going on a little bit. And I do post things in there. And then you also get your own subscribers page that I was in tonight a little bit as well during the game. It's only 99 cents a month, and it does help support us to continue to make more content. If you're on YouTube, we appreciate you. We're trying to get YouTube to doing some of that as well. So just want to point that out right off the top of the show. Also want to point out Stadium Rant at the top, and we're a part of Stadium Rant now, and we appreciate them as well.
What's up, Greg?
What's up, Greg?
Pretty good. That's my buddy, Greg, yes.
All right, John. Got to talk about, this is the Big Fuss Show here. This is week 25, season 3. And got to talk about Kentucky, right?
Yeah, I think the more we do these, the Big Fuss Show, I think when Kentucky plays on that night, I think we have to go in to at least do a segment if they win. Now, if they lose, then we're pretty much PO'd at each other, and we don't want to talk about it. But if they – don't get me wrong, if they win, it's even better. But I'm going to say this, Brett. Gritty win. They were shorthanded again tonight. Jackson Robinson was out with a wrist injury. They lost Butler late in the game. I think there was 8 minutes to go in the game. He left with, I think he re-injured his shoulder again, which I read the post game with Pope, and he said we're going to try to get Butler and Robinson healthy as soon as possible. So it don't sound that it's a bad thing. I think he just re-injured his shoulder again, which hopefully in the next couple of weeks they'll get this figured out and set to where they can get healthy and get back, because, man, this has been a curse all year long when it comes to injuries. And this is not just –
it was a good win, Greg, for sure.
And this is just not going back to this year. This is going back 5 or 6 years. Kentucky has dealt with injuries off and on. It's just tough sometimes.
Well, heck, if you want to talk about injuries, honestly, at the end of this game, you had Kirk Harissa, who's been out for 2 months. You had Jackson Robinson sitting there with a brace on his wrist, and you had Butler, who was out the last 8 minutes and 40 seconds with re-injuring his shoulder, just sitting there. And somehow Tennessee, who took a 3-point lead late in this game with about 5-6 minutes to go, somehow Kentucky find a way not only to get the win, but, they won by 11 points after them taking a 3-point lead.
Yeah, they was 5? It was 5 minutes to go in the game. Tennessee's up 60-58.
Absolutely, guys. Good win tonight.
Kentucky was up 60-50, or Tennessee was up 60-58. Kentucky went on a 17-4 splash to end the game.
Yep.
Tennessee missed some shots. Kobe Brea hit some big-time shots.
Yeah, we got to talk about Kobe Brea's 2 step-back threes, John,
was
at the top of the key was absolutely just, spectacular shots, to be honest.
You know, the main thing that I'm taking away from this game is Kentucky's defense made Tennessee have to play. They pushed them
Where
off
was
the
this
defense.
defense a few weeks ago?
You know, I don't know. Like, I guess it's just maybe the opponent. Maybe you get up for a better game than other games. I mean, I don't know. You know, they had a good pace, Brad, most of the game, especially for second half. It kind of got a little bit slower. Tennessee kind of got some control there. They took a lead. They went up 3. You know, Kentucky exploited Tennessee's defense a lot in this game. And Tennessee's probably the number 1 Ken Palm defense in the country. And they just went through them like a slice of butter. You know, Kentucky shot 50% from the 3, or 50% overall, 12 of 24 from 3.
Both 50% overall and 50%.
Here's another key stat. Tennessee was 3 of 18 from 3, yet another horrible number.
Yep.
And I'm going to say this. This is Kentucky.
Milicic is the only person that hit a 3.
Yeah, this is a Kentucky podcast, more or less, and we talk Kentucky. But I want to go on the Tennessee side of things here. If Tennessee shoots like this in the tournament, they're not going to last very long. When Chaz Lanier's not hitting, when Zakai Ziegler's not hitting, now
Chaz Lanier was 0 for 7 from 3-point line tonight.
Igor Milicic, he made some big shots to kind of keep Tennessee in the game. It was just tough grind type win without Butler, and it shows a lot what Mark Pope has done with this team.
Definitely going to get to the Kentucky boys, Chris. I promise.
You know, I'm going to say this. You know, Kentucky had lost 4 of the last 6 games. You know, they lost to Arkansas. They lost to Ole Miss. Now they come back and beat South Carolina Saturday, which, granted, South Carolina's not a great team, but you kind of felt maybe with their defense was playing a little bit better Saturday that you could kind of move into this game and kind of take off and use a little bit momentum, and they did. First half, Tennessee had to literally fight to even get open. Tennessee couldn't get open. Kentucky was Jay Billis, what Jay Billis calls.
I mean, I know the other night when we were doing this, there were some people on with us and talking about Kentucky's defense against South Carolina. I'm going to tell you guys right now, tonight's defense, I think, was the best we have looked all season long.
Well, and they crowded the paint. Jay Billis made a big point on it late in the second half. They crowded the paint, and then they went out and they pushed Tennessee out to the 3-point line and made them try to make 4 shots. Now, Gainey had a shot where they could have took the lead or tied the game there late, and he missed the whole goal. Tennessee hit some ugly shots down the stretch. I think it was like 3 minutes to go. Tennessee was trying to force too much stuff. And when Kentucky got the lead on them, and it just kind of overwhelmed them. And
I mean, John, this was a complete team effort tonight.
Yeah.
So Ansley Almanar and Otia Owe combined they led for 13. They each had 13 points. Kobe Bria had 11, and Trent Noah had 11 points. Travis Perry had 8 tonight. Butler had 6. Williams had 6. And Brandon Garrison 5. Carr just had the 2 free throws at the end.
Yeah, I mean.
Absolutely sweep. I love it. I love it, Badland. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Well, you know, Rick Barnes brought up a good point tonight. He said he was talking about Mark Pope's system. He said it's very sound. I think he's put all of his guys into position where they can excel. He said they played with effort, but he said we didn't really play smart basketball. He said we turned it over quite a bit. We Kentucky got after them a little bit on defensive end. He said we just kind of got lost in the sauce, more or less.
Well, I mean, I thought it was pretty clean. They only had 9 turnovers, and we only had 8. I mean,
Yeah, but I think
that's not a bad sloppy game by any
But I
means.
think they forced a lot of stuff late in the game down the stretch that kind of ultimately done in their demise.
We did lose the rebounding battle 33-26. Giving up some offensive rebounds there late, I thought was going to cost us. They had one possession at the 5-minute mark that they got like 3 or 4 offensive rebounds, and they finally scored. That's when they went ahead of us, is around the 5-minute mark. And I thought, it's Butler was out. I thought it's not looking good. And then, like, they really turned it on. Berea's big shots kind of helped.
I will say Mark Pope did not give a good update on Jackson Robinson at the end of the game. He said, I'm not sure we're getting him back anytime soon, but I'm hoping. That's not a good sign.
I don't think it's a good sign about Butler either, to be honest with you.
I would be
surprised if I'm just being honest. I'd be surprised if he plays Saturday.
Now, what I would do, Texas is a winnable game. I've said it. It's a winnable game Saturday. I would sit on a couple games, get them ready for the SEC tournament, and just go with it and see what happens. Now, I maybe play them towards the end, the LSU games, maybe Missouri, try to get them in there right before the tournament. But here's a key stat that I want you to listen to, Brad. This is without Lamont Butler and a few of the guys that have been missing. Kentucky has 7 wins versus top 15 opponents this year.
They have 5 top 5 wins. Tonight was their 5th top 5.
The most in college basketball.
Yeah.
We're talking Auburn, Duke, Tennessee. That's the most in college basketball.
Hey, man, listen. Travis Perry and Trent Noah, and I told John Noah was going to have to step up with Robinson out before the game. I'm super proud. Listen, they had 19 points between the two of them. Great performance. Without them being contributors, we don't win this ball game.
No, hey, you want to hear a song? Tom Leach kind of wrote it. He said, almost heaven, Harlan County, Mountain Mamba.
Yeah.
No stranger to blue hollers. With apologies to John Denver. How about Trent Noah?
This team could be dangerous, Brian. I'm not saying that we are. I'm saying we could be if we can get healthy.
You know what Trent Noah and Travis Perry is doing right now? They're living a dream that all of us dreamed about sitting in the backyard.
I know I dreamed it. I can tell you that 100% every day.
There are very few places on planet Earth that is as special as Rupp Arena. And these kids.
Imagine, John, getting to dress and come out at Rupp Arena and do that against Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean.
There's no other place. If you're from Eastern Kentucky and to come out and do that versus Tennessee, there's no other opponent that you'd want.
Does he hate Tennessee? Because it seems like the last 2 games he's put a show on against the Vols. Like,
yes, I'm telling you.
I mean, there'd
be no other team that I would want to do that more with. I'm serious. Not even those.
What's even crazier is last year we watched both Travis Perry and Trent Noah reach the Sweet 16 championship game play against one another. And now they're playing on the same team. I mean, that story is just – you can't beat it, man.
Oh, wait. I got to put that up on the screen. Oh, I love it. I know. I'm showing my true colors. But I do. I say it all the time on here that I hate Tennessee. Yeah, Bill, I agree with you. The way he's played Trent Noah deserves the minutes 100%. It's not just about, yes, tonight he hit some big buckets as well, threes, had 11 big points, hit 2 free throws down the stretch during that run as well, and stepped up and hit 2 free throws. But it's about his hustle. It's about he gets loose balls, he gets steals, he gets rebounds when it's important. They're late with about a minute to go. Noah is one of them that got a rebound and got fouled on the rebound.
He's got great IQ. You know, he busts his ass every single night. He goes after loose balls, like you said. He hustles. There was a play, I think, there late in the second half.
He got the rebound, and that's how he got fouled and went to the line there too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if we had about 20 Trent Noahs to go along with what we already got, I think Kentucky fans should be proud of that.
Listen,
and not to push it off.
Not a knock. I'm not trying to knock Andrew Carr, okay? But Trent Noah tonight severely outplayed Andrew Carr.
He did.
Let's be honest.
He did.
I mean it wasn't even close.
He basically, somebody put on Twitter, said he dropped his Mountain Mamba nuts on Tennessee. Oh man, I'm telling you, the Mountain Mamba thing. I think Pope said something. He called him the holler baller in the post game. I thought that was pretty neat. This kid's special, man. I think his sophomore season is going to be even better because he's going to have that valuable experience going into next year. And I believe this kid's a 4-year player, and boy, it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be a fun watch with him and Travis Perry.
The kids, I mean, he rebounds. He also had a possession I think it was in the first half on the defensive side. They were trying to come at him. They put him in a switch. He had to switch and still shut down the guy in a switch. Like, they really went after him on a couple of plays.
You know who Travis
defense, and he passed the test. Let's just put it that way.
You want to know who Trent Noah reminds me of?
Who's that?
You know the kid that played a couple years back, Willis.
Derek Willis, yeah.
Derek Willis kind of reminds me of him, a Winion Gabriel type.
Derek Willis is probably a pretty good. Derek Willis was 6'9". Noah's like 6'6", something like that. So Derek Willis could rebound. He was a good 3-point shooter. That's not a bad comparison.
No, like a Winion Gabriel type just comes in and makes winning plays. And just plays defense and just does what it takes to win. And the Goose got to talk to him tonight. At the end of the game, post
he should have been. Actually, Trent Noah should have been the player of the game.
Here's my thing on the Trent Noah, Travis Perry thing. All you young kids out there, I'm going to say this.
Noah's playing a little better defense.
If you want to look at how inspirational these kids are, take a look at what Trent Noah did tonight. How many kids in southeastern Kentucky could put themselves shooting those same shot, those free throws, to put them up 5 against Tennessee and then hit some big threes? Listen, that's not easy. That's hard work, Brad.
Oh, yeah.
That's not just handing the ball.
I'm telling you. I mean, I'm super proud of the kid, to be honest with you. I mean, last season he was playing in high school in Eastern Kentucky.
He was in Harlan County.
I mean, seriously.
And I'm proud of him. Everybody's proud of him. We're proud of Travis Perry.
Travis Perry, for what he could do tonight. Listen, he defensively. He cost us a little bit, but he did put 8 big points on the board, hit 2 3-pointers, was 2 of 3 from the 3-point line. Like, I'm proud of him as well. I just thought Noah is really coming on strong.
Did you know he outscored Chaz Lanier?
Noah?
Yes.
Yeah. Lanier was 0 of 7 from the 3-point line tonight.
Yep. Ainsley Almanor, I thought
I don't
hit
know
some
about you guys, but that's not good.
I thought Ainsley Almanor hit some big shots. Kobe Brea, you was going to mention him real quick. He hit some 2 step back threes that was just pure, like, electricity factory. Like, it put the game on ice, basically. The defensive intensity was great. Going back and forth, haymakers. This game had the energy of an Elite Eight type game, 316. Tennessee.
All right, I'm going to end this up. And John, I have told you this pretty much the entire basketball season. And after playing Tennessee twice, beating them twice, I'll be honest with you, John, and I've said this on the show. I don't think this Tennessee team is as good as last year's. I know that they have some metrics that say they're a top 5 team and everything.
I don't.
But I'm telling you, Dalton Connect and Jonas Adu,
Awaka, went to Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't feel like this Tennessee team is as good as last year's.
I'm going to say to that, Jerry, before we kind of move on to our next topic. He said, agreed, John. Brea had some big shots that took the life out of Tennessee. When Brea hit them 2 shots, you could just see Tennessee their heads were down. It was like, we've done all this work to get back in this game, and it's just like the air has been sucked out of it.
Listen, those were 2 huge shots that he took.
And it happens, man. You're going to have nights like this, hopefully.
Listen, and I don't like Tennessee, but I'm just being that's a true. I really, if you guys watched my show last year, as much as I don't like Tennessee, and Hammonds will have to back me up on this, I praised Dalton Connect all year last year.
Sure did.
All year.
He's the best shooter in college basketball.
He was impressive. And I praised Dalton Connect and talked about how you need to watch this kid because this kid was fantastic and that you needed to turn it on as a Kentucky fan and watch that kid. I'm telling you, I said last year how good Tennessee was and praised Dalton Connect.
I got 2 more things before you go.
I don't think they're as good this year. I really don't.
I got 2 more things. Ainsley Almanor, I thought, hit some big shots early in the first half. To me, the biggest play of the game, Brad, for me, was when they got that steal and Oweh went down and dunked it. They was reeling a little bit.
That was Butler's last play. You talking about that steal?
Yeah, his last play. That was a really big play.
Yeah, that was right before Butler got
Tennessee
hurt.
was kind of gaining control, and they was kind of moving. They was getting some shots and hitting some shots, and that kind of, even when Butler went out, it kind of helped to add to the lead, and it just kind of fluctuated down the stretch. So, great win tonight. Awesome win.
I do like Dalton Connect. I'm not going to lie. He's a good player.
I'm happy about this win now. We play Texas Saturday. What happens between now and then with Butler and Jackson, I have no idea. They'll probably both sit. Maybe one plays, but somebody's going to have to step up and take duties. Now, I will say this, Brad. We talked about this last night. Texas is a winnable game. I thought if they beat Tennessee tonight, that they have an opportunity here to reel off a couple wins here. Tennessee at home or Texas on the road, Tennessee at home, and they got Vanderbilt Wednesday night before they go to Alabama. So hopefully everything, the greatest thing about winning, I always say, is you can sit back and watch the rest of these games and not be really upset. You can enjoy some of these games. When you lose, you think about all these things. You think about the injuries. You think about what's what's going on, and it helps when you have a win like that in Lexington. And Rob Douster said it best from Field of 68 tonight. He said that was the loudest it's been since Arkansas. The crowd. He said,
Yeah.
and most of them braved the snowstorm, Brad.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had 6-8 inches of snow in some parts of Kentucky tonight, and these fans went out and braved the storm to come watch them play Tennessee. Like, there's no fan base like BBN, and that's all I'll say on that. Right now, I don't know the scoop on Texas Madeline. I'm just happy we win right now. We'll figure that out later in the week.
So, I mean, they have a good freshman. Johnson's a great freshman.
Yes.
Kaluma, Arthur Kaluma is a really good player for them, about a 6'7", 6'8" guy that can shoot from outside as well. He's a good player. Yeah, Madeline. I kept waiting for Billis and his ice cream, and they never talked about it.
Yeah, Texas is good when Trey Johnson is good.
Yeah,
but Texas has had up and downs. I'll actually have an article out tomorrow about some sleepers to watch for the tournament. Texas was one of those. I felt like Texas is in that kind of range.
Let's hope they're not on Saturday.
Well, I mean, when they're really good, Brad, with Johnson, when he's playing at his level, they can play with anybody. We've seen that all year.
They wear the wrong color orange for me.
It's just putting it together. And Texas has potential. So,
all right, we're going to move on from the Kentucky game. I do have a few topics here that I want to talk about before we close out the show tonight. And one of them is about Indiana basketball, John.
Yes, sir.
You know, Mike Woodson has decided he's going to step aside at Indiana, and they are looking for a coach. And I've got a few things here that I want to ask you, and then I've got a couple of stats that I'm going to throw in. But my big question to you, John, is this. Is Indiana attractive enough as a basketball destination to land a big-time coach?
I think it is. I mean, you know, you had Bob Knight. Tom Crean said it back when he got hired that it's Indiana basketball. It's one of the pinnacles of the sport. You're probably removed from the glory days of Bob Knight.
That was a long time ago.
I agree. And they're sinking to the bottom half of the Big Ten standings. They're not playing great. The possible chance that they might not even make the tournament.
John, I'm going to give you a stat, and this is going to blow your mind. Are you ready?
Yeah.
In the last 31 years, do you know how many times Indiana has made it to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament? Do you know how many?
Twice.
Four times in the last 31 years.
Well, you look at Indiana. You know, they had Mike Davis at one point. He come in and got the interim job after Knight left. He went into a tough situation. He took them to the national championship. They beat Duke that season. I think that was 2002 when they beat Duke and Jason Williams in Lexington. That was a pretty good team. Then you had Kelvin Sampson. He had some NCAA stuff go against him. And he got canned there. Then you had Tom Crean.
I think that is a crazy stat, Jerry. It blew my mind when I seen it. To the second weekend, we're talking to the Sweet 16.
Well, then you had Archie Miller come in. People thought he was a home run hire, Brad. He led Dayton to 4 straight NCAA tournament appearances. He didn't produce a single winning Big Ten record in 4 seasons at Indiana.
I mean, it's unreal.
Then they went to Woodson. Played under Bobby Knight, coached in the NBA.
I mean, people made fun of him, but hell, Tom Crean was probably their best coach.
Here's why I think Indiana is a good job. For the right coach, it's attainable. Indiana's not been to the national championship, or raised a banner, 38 years?
They haven't won a championship since 1986.
Well, and there's a lot of good in-state talent there. That's a major advantage for Indiana. They got a lot of support from fans. There's a lot of fan support in Bloomington. Believe it or not, they have a lot of great support behind their team. Just this past weekend, they had a sold-out crowd against Michigan. And they had lost 6 of their past 7 games.
I'm not going to say they don't have a crazy fan base. They do. I lived in Indiana as a kid.
They got an NIL war chest too.
But my question to you, like, they've had some pretty decent coaches that have went there. I mean, Calvin Sampson was there for a couple of years. He did get in some trouble. Look what he's done at Houston, though. He couldn't do it. He wasn't doing it in Indiana.
He's done some good things. I look at this job. I'm going to put it like this, Brad. I look at this job, this Indiana
job. Is
job.
Indiana a great destination, or was Bobby Knight just an absolute fantastic coach?
Bobby Knight was a fantastic coach. I mean, aside from his antics, throwing chairs and stuff, he was a Hall of Fame coach and a winner. Here's why I think Indiana is a great job, and I think why it's a good hire. This coach is coming into an opportunity, sort of like Louisville and Kentucky, okay? You don't need 3 years to rebuild a team, basically, with a bare roster. You got the portal now. You got the NIL. You can reload a roster in a matter of weeks. I look at this like Pope and Kelsey type thing with Kentucky and Louisville. The right coach can win here if he can handle that spotlight. Play modern basketball, get the resources in there.
Listen, I did not like Bobby Knight, but he was a great coach.
It's still Indiana, Brad. So it's still a premier program, but I will say.
Let me ask you. Okay, you say it is. What are they going to be? Who are they going to be able to land? What caliber coach could they land? Are we talking? Do you think they could go down and get a Chris Beard from Ole Miss?
That's a good one.
Do you think he would leave the SEC to go to Bloomington to coach Indiana?
With the way he's building Ole Miss, I don't see it. Now there's one name that most people don't know is probably going to get a look, and Indiana fans might not like it, and it's Mick Cronin from UCLA. He's going to get a look. Well, it's going to happen, Brad, because he needs a change of direction.
I don't like it. I'll be the first to tell you right now, I don't like it. I don't think he's the guy. He's not done it at UCLA. He's not going to do it at Indiana. I'm sorry. I don't like it.
I mean, you probably don't like it, but that's who they're going to go after.
That's a terrible hell. If I was them, I'd go after Pat Kelsey before I'd go after him.
You know another name? I'm going to give you a home run hire that the third one of Kyle, but he'll probably hang up, is Rick Pitino.
Pitino's not going there. He's
probably not going to go there, but
this is his last stop. He's not. I don't even know why people bringing that up.
You know who I would go to? I'd go Grant McCaslin from Texas Tech.
That'd be a good one.
I say that because he can win with scoring.
I don't know. I think they're trying to get away from Mike Woodson. Played for Bobby Knight as well.
When he coached at North Texas, when he coached at North Texas, he beat Purdue. Grant McCaslin did.
Yeah.
I think wasn't that the year wasn't that the COVID season? I believe it was the COVID year.
If you're talking about Alford, he won the last championship in '86.
He's only been at a high. Here's the problem you're going to have with Grant McCaslin. He's only been at a high major level.
Madeline, I think Madeline likes Jerry Stackhouse.
Yeah. Maybe a Greg McDermott from Creighton would be one. Greg McDermott's a really good coach.
Listen, that is an absolute far-fetched fantasy land. There is no way on the face of this earth that Brad Stevens is leaving a cush GM job, executive job for the Boston Celtics to come to the Indiana Hoosiers. It's not happening. There is no way. That's an absolute fantasy land.
Not happening. Because if he turns down Kentucky and some of these others, he's not going to Indiana.
I have to mess with you, Madeline. I'll give you a name that I think they should go after.
Dusty
May.
Bring him home.
Dusty May. That's a name. Now that's a name I'd go after. He got to the Final Four 2 or 3 years ago now. He's in his first year at Michigan. He was raised 20 minutes from Bloomington.
Yeah, and he was what was he a basketball manager for the Hoosiers?
Yep.
I don't think Coach Huggins is going to coach. I think some of these older coaches are not going to come back into
Huggy Bear might actually take it.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
He's only a few wins away from like 800 or 900 or something like that. And old Huggy Bear might take the job, to be honest, if they would have offered to him.
Maybe another home run hire would be Scott Drew, maybe. But, if he turned down Kentucky, he's not going to leave Baylor.
Bryce Drew, you might go get Bryce Drew from Grand Canyon.
Yeah. Dusty May.
Scott Drew is not leaving. If he didn't leave for Kentucky, he's not leaving for Indiana.
You look at Dusty May. He worked under Bob Knight and Mike Davis. I think he was there as an assistant before taking the job. He built up Florida Atlantic from virtually nothing, Brad.
Yeah.
And took them to the Final Four.
Bryce Drew at Grand Canyon wouldn't be a bad. He's done a good job at Grand Canyon.
The Owls went 79-28 the last three years under Dusty May.
I'm telling you, if you want a home run hire, it's Dusty May. That's who Indiana's home run hire is.
I'll give you another one real quick before we move on. How about Shaka Smart?
Shaka Smart wouldn't be a bad one.
He's done really good at Marquette.
Maybe you go get Archie Miller's brother.
A Big East title.
Oh, wait.
Mick Cronin will get a look, I think, though.
I'm telling you, I don't like it at all. Don't like it at all.
The thing about McCaslin I like, he's done really great there at Texas Tech. He's went past 20 conference wins.
McCaslin's not a bad one at Texas Tech.
He took Texas Tech to the tournament last year. They're in the big picture this year. They're one of the top 10 rated national teams nationally. McCaslin has a lot of strong ties to Texas, though. It's his home state. I don't think he's going to leave there.
Yeah.
But that would be a name to go after. Would you leave Indiana?
Maybe they could go after Calvin Sampson.
Or would you stay comfortable in Lubbock?
Come on, y'all. That's funny.
I think we're getting slap happy on this. Real
Come on, that's funny. I don't care who you are.
What about a Buzz Williams? I mean, I'm going to tell you who I'd call.
I'm going to be honest with you,
this
though,
is my
John.
home run.
I don't see some of these SEC coaches with the way the SEC is right now,
Well,
why would you go to Bloomington?
Mark Byington would be a name to watch from Vanderbilt.
Maybe.
James Madison. Here's my home run hire. I would go full in, and I'm going to tell you who I'm going to go after. Will Wade.
I like it, actually.
Wade's a winner. He's built up McNeese State. Here's the problem you're going to have, though. Would Indiana be able to see past Wade's recruiting things at LA?
I actually like Will Wade. He's a heck of a coach.
But would they look at that as stuff from his past? Would they really hire him in that regard?
I don't know. I do like that. That's a good name there. I like that.
Yeah. But
all right. Those are some names that I think might actually go there because Will Wade wants to prove himself again.
He does. Really does.
I think Bryce Drew wants to prove himself again. And he's done a great job at Grand Canyon. And his brother has done a great job at Baylor. Got a good family, good basketball family.
Well,
Dusty May.
His brother's done really good at Grand Canyon. He's took him to the tournament. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Done a great job.
Some good little runs out there with out in that conference. So
yeah, just to throw some names out.
This could be.
I think they would actually look at the job.
Yeah.
All right, John, I got to throw this in here, man. It's the SEC's world, and we're all just living in it.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, and I'm not talking about football, John. I'm talking basketball here. Guys, for the first time ever, I'm going to throw out some stats, okay? For the first time ever since the AP poll started in like the late 1930s, okay? There has never, ever, ever been 4 top 5 teams out of one conference.
Nope.
Until yesterday.
Jay Bill has brought up a big point in an article I read today. He said there's going to be an issue when the selection committee comes down and they look at some of these teams because you're going to have teams with losing records in conference that are going to be better than some teams finishing the top 3 or 4 in a couple of other leagues. And every game in this league is quad 1, Brad. You know that. Most of them now. There's a couple that's quad 2. But it's absolutely insane to me.
It is. I mean, South Carolina's like the low on the totem pole, and they're like 77.
And you got 13 possible SEC teams getting in. I think the last time that many got in was the Big East.
I'm going to give you another crazy stat. For the first time ever, in the SEC history, on Saturday, we're going to have number 1 versus number 2.
Alabama and Auburn.
It's never happened. In the history of the SEC started in 1933. We are approaching 100 years.
And this will also be the first 1 versus 2 in-state rivalry since Memphis and Tennessee. Was it 08, 06? I think the year Chris Lofton was there. I think it was.
I'm worried about the other conferences.
I can't remember, but there was a year there where I think Tennessee was number 1 with Bruce Pearl.
It was 2008, I believe.
It was 2008, I believe.
It was when Calipari was at Memphis, 2018.
Memphis, yeah.
And Bruce Pearl was at Tennessee.
Yeah, those teams had some really good teams. I think that was when Derrick Rose was there.
It was. The 2018 was, yeah.
And
I'm going to flip this, John. Right now, even on the women's side, there are 6 projected top 4 seeds in the SEC of the 16. 6 of the 16 on the women's side are SEC teams.
Well, you got Texas.
In basketball, it's the SEC's world, and we're all just living in it, man.
Well, you look at it from big perspective here. You got South Carolina, Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky. You even got Ole Miss running in the middle there.
LSU.
Kentucky last night, LSU.
Yeah.
Miss
On the women's side.
I wouldn't say Mississippi State. I was trying to think of Ole Miss. Ole Miss is another one.
Vandy's not far off. Vandy's had some good wins
with the two freshmen, Pierre and Michaela Blakes. The SEC as a whole, look at Kentucky's schedule coming up. They play Texas.
The ACC is bad.
They got a little break, and they play Georgia on Sunday, the women's Kentucky. And then they come out, and I think they play LSU. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's LSU. And they go down the stretch playing Tennessee, and we haven't even got to the South Carolina game yet. They play South Carolina at the end of the year.
Yep.
But overall, it's the best league, Brad. We could possibly have 4 number 1 seeds all being from the SEC.
It's never happened. There's never even been 4 out of 5 top 5 teams in the AP.
Now, I will say,
ever.
Tennessee losing tonight, I don't know how they're going to do all that. Tennessee's lost some games in conference. I don't know. Their metrics, I don't know how some teams can move up, some teams don't. I'm not a bracketologist, so I couldn't tell you.
If Kentucky is the one team that keeps Tennessee out of the top, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I'm just saying.
You're always good with that. So,
but I'm just saying, for real, guys, it is the SEC's world in basketball right now, and we're all just living in it.
And we're enjoying every moment. There's games on every night that just nail biters. I mean, you look at Saturday. I wrote an article on it Saturday. A&M beat Missouri on a last-second shot. Ole Miss beat LSU on a last-second tip-in. Florida went to the jungle and did what most teams have not been able to do all year and dominate Auburn. Just every night is just a show, man. And it's just impressive to watch. It's impressive to be able to be a part of history, and seeing that, it'll blow your mind. And
speaking of, right now, Alabama on the road at Texas, 14 minutes to go. Alabama has 64 points against Texas and is up 64-45.
Yeah, well, that's 48 now.
Texas
just hit a 3. It's 48 now.
Well, okay.
But, by the way, just for everybody knowing, we was talking about Indiana. They're about to go into Michigan State and upset the Spartans.
They're up 5 with 5 to go.
Yeah, 4 to go, maybe. So.
Yeah. Auburn beat Vandy. Florida beat Mississippi State. Both of them on the road tonight.
Michigan beat Purdue tonight. It was a big win for Michigan. People don't talk about what the job Dusty May's done with Michigan his first year.
I'm telling you.
I
told you who I think they should go after, and that's him. So,
and guess what? Our Kansas State wins again. They knock off Arizona 73-70. Kansas
serious?
State is a team that was dead in the water 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they were.
And now they got 3 or 4 quad 1 wins? Like, they're trending back on the tournament bracketology now. So every night in the league is tough, Brad. I've said it from day one.
All right, real quick, UConn, Dan Hurley, you got beat by the best coach in the sport. I'm just gonna say it. All right.
Yep.
There you go, man. There's your wake-up call.
Yep.
Just saying. All right. John, you wanted to talk a little bit about the net rankings. Is the net rankings legit or not?
Is this our last topic of the night?
I've got one more quick one that I'm going to talk about, but The net ranking.
I don't really want to talk about this very long. I just kind of want to get on with it and be done with it because we could talk about this all night.
Well, yeah, I mean, but here's my deal, okay? In the women's side of things, I made a post about this yesterday. Before last night's game with the women and Ole Miss that they wound up losing, but Kentucky had 4 wins in the quad one. They were 4-1. Tennessee was 4-6. Ole Miss was 3-7. Oklahoma was 4-6.
Mm-hmm.
And all 3 teams was ahead of Kentucky in the net rankings.
Yep.
Kentucky had as many or more quad one wins than all 3 teams, and they won theirs in 5 tries, where it took Tennessee 10 games to win 4. So my issue with the net rankings is this. It looks like to me that you're rewarding teams for simply just playing games, and the results really don't matter.
Well, I'll give you an example. Kentucky beat on the men's side. They beat who was it a week ago? Before South Carolina. Was it Tennessee?
Sorry, I was reading. What'd you say?
Was it Tennessee before South Carolina? The last win we had before Arkansas, was it Tennessee?
Yeah, it was Tennessee.
It's Tennessee. So we beat Tennessee and we moved up 6-7 spots, okay? Well, we lose to Arkansas and we dropped like all the way to 25, 26. They beat South Carolina Saturday.
And raised like 9 spots.
And moved 9 spots.
South Carolina's a bad team. It was a quad 3 game.
Here's what the committee, I've said it, the committee does. I don't think they look so much at the net rankings as a criteria, but they look at certain things within the net, like quad 1 wins, quad 3 wins, or 4 where they lose. I think in making those comparisons for the tournament field, I
just don't understand. So, okay, strength of schedule plays a role in it. I get that. Okay, I get that. However, when you look at the bottom side, okay, of these same teams, when I was talking about the women's teams, Kentucky has won. All 4 of these teams were undefeated against quad 3 and quad 4. Okay. Kentucky had 11 wins versus quad 3 and quad 4. Okay. But so does every team except for Tennessee had played 11 or more.
Well,
so how is their strength of schedule that much different outside of playing and losing more quad 1 games?
Well, I talked to a bracketologist today. I think it was maybe JB. I can't remember. But I asked him about how certain games and metrics and all that stuff, how that works. He says a lot of times the metrics float up higher when you dominate certain teams and you have blowouts because the numbers like that. They like you to have like big, double-digit wins. Now, this Tennessee win tonight, the net rankings probably don't come out until after midnight. Kentucky's probably going to move up a couple, 3-4 spots because they pretty much beat Tennessee by double digits. Was it 11 points?
11, yeah.
So it's probably going to help their net rankings there. I think where it hurts you the most is when you lose to certain teams. And it kind of backs down. But when you win certain games and you build your metrics up for double-digit wins, I think it also helps your net rankings. But I'm like you, Brad. I'm not a big fan of the whole net stuff. I actually like the RPI better than I did than the net. RPI at least.
Again, my biggest problem is that it basically rewards you for just playing games, and the results really, if you play in more quad one games, the results really don't matter if you win or lose.
Like, I'll give you an example, okay? Kentucky was what? Was they 20th in KenPom tonight? They dropped to 18. Their defense is at 84 now.
After tonight, it should be better.
It was 90, I believe, to start the game. It's 84 now. Their offense is number 2 behind Auburn. So they moved up a little bit in the KenPom. But even on the KenPom is distracting at times because you got so many different measurements, you got so many different statistics you got to go through, defensive rankings. Then you got to go to Bart Torvik. He's got a thing where you win certain games and you they predict the final regular. Like, some of this stuff is just absolutely asinine at times. Some of the metrics and how it lays out. And
I just think I worry about them because the reason why I'm saying I'm worried about them is because March Madness and the committees actually use these for seedings.
they do.
So it
But
matters.
they look at. I do say that the committee does look a lot towards the resume building wins too. Like, they'll look at some of the losses, but you have an elite resume. I remember a couple of years back, there was a team that had an elite resume, and I think they lost 2 or 3, quad 3.
Now, the net rankings does come into play for the seedings.
It does. But that's not all they look at. They look at resume. The resume is their big factor. Who you beat, where you beat them, and how much you beat them by. And I think Kentucky's going to have a good case. I talked to JBR tonight again. Kentucky has a good case to have
I think that was number 9. Is that number 9 quad 1 wins now for Kentucky?
It's 9.
Or 8? Was
9.
it 8 or 9?
I believe it's 9. Let me see here. I think I can pull it up.
It was either 8 or 9 tonight.
Let's see. I'll go to Bart Torvik because it usually updates. Let's see here. Quad 1. Well, let me go here. Better if you go to the team sheets. Warren Owen's the best at that. Let's see here. Where's Kentucky at? Let's see.
I'm just not 100% sure which one it is after the week.
That was last year's.
And I'm looking up something else for my next topic.
Trying to find, because there's so many different things you can look at here. There's different rankings and.
Well, I'll go on if you find it.
I'll find it here in a minute.
Go ahead. But my last topic of the night is the Wooden Award announced their top 20 watch list for both men's and women's basketball tonight. And I kind of wanted to go through and talk about some of the players here on the men's side. And these top 20s, just so your All-Americans come from these top 20 lists. So if you make this top 20 list, you have a chance of being an All-American, basically. Yeah. Of course, Janai Broome and Cooper Flagg are the 2 big names on the men's side. But I kind of wanted to go through the list. John, there's 2 players from Rutgers on this list. And I know you know who they are. Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. are on this list. I'm going to go through the entire list. Top 20. Ace Bailey, Janai Broome, Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida, Hunter Dickinson, Kansas, Eric Dixon, Villanova, Cooper Flagg, Duke, Keyshawn Gilbert, Iowa State, PJ Haggerty, Memphis, Dylan Harper, Rutgers. I don't know how to pronounce it. What's the weird kid's name that's got the weird last name from Illinois that's such a good player? Weird kid's name that's got the – oh, there he is.
I'm back.
He
it froze up again. Yeah. That's pretty amazing to see two Rutgers guys on the list. I mean, you got Ace Bailey.
It is.
Dylan Harper, two great players that are probably going to go to the NBA after this season.
These players are the ones that will, have a chance to be an All-American.
Mm-hmm.
So, Hakona, I don't know how he pronounces his name from Illinois.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Caspers, yeah.
Yeah.
Curtis Jones from Iowa State. There are two Iowa State players on this list as well.
I think Chaz Lanier was one of those. He was on there.
Cam Jones. I'm going through the list. Cam Jones from Marquette. Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton. Alex Caravan, UConn. Chaz Lanier, Tennessee. Ryan Nemhard from Gonzaga. Maxine Raynard from Stanford. I don't even know who that is. And Mark Sears from Alabama. Javon Small from Virginia. And Braden Smith from Purdue. That's the 20 on the men's. Now, I do not have the complete list for the women's, but I do have a surprise for you guys. Georgia Amore is on the list. And I think maybe John's froze up again. It looks like it. Okay. Georgia Amore is on the list. She has made the top 20 watch list for the Wooden Award winner in women's college basketball. And I had to talk about her for a minute. She has had a heck of a season, and Georgia has made the list for the women's.
I'm telling you, I'm having all sorts of problems, and I don't know what's going on with the computer.
Yeah, so Georgia has made the list for the women's. And that is a huge announcement here. I got it just as we were right after the men's game. I got the email. Georgia has made the list for the top 20. I do not have the complete list. I will run through some that I know has to be on there. Juju Watkins has to be on there. Let's go with Paige. Paige Beckers has to be on there.
You ain't got the list. You ain't got the list on you.
I don't. Can you pull it up?
Yeah, I mean, is this the mid-season or is this the?
It's the top 20 watch list for the Wooden Award.
Let's see here.
They were released tonight. I found the men's.
It's on here somewhere.
I found the men's, but I don't have the women's up. Here it is. Hang on a minute. I got it.
Paige Buchers made it. Sarah Strong made it. Tahina Powell made it.
All right. I got the full list. You mean run it down real quick?
TCU had Haley Van Liff and Sedona Prince on theirs.
Yeah. Georgia Amore, Kentucky. Lauren Betts, UCLA. Michaela Blakes, Vanderbilt as a freshman, guys. Madison Booker, sophomore, Texas. Paige Beckers from UConn. Talasia Cooper from Tennessee. Audie Crooks from Iowa State. Gonzaga, Yvonne Ahim, I think is how you pronounce it. Hannah Hidalgo, Notre Dame. Isaiah James, NC State. Flau'jae Johnson, LSU. Tania Latson, FSU. Cody McMahon, Ohio State. Olivia Miles, Notre Dame. Anisha Morrow, LSU. Tahina Powpow, South Carolina. Sedona Prince, TCU. Sarah Strong, UConn. Haley Van Lith, TCU. And Juju Watkins, USC. I'm really surprised, John, that Kiki Irfane is not on there from USC.
Props to Georgia Amore for her watch list there.
Yeah.
The women play a tough matchup Thursday. Brad's actually going to this game.
Tennessee comes to town. I mean, Texas comes to town.
Tough game. They're having some struggles on the road a little bit. The two losses that they had, they've led the entire way and just absolutely fell apart towards the end. And that's great news, Madeline. Just not on Robinson. Robinson's must be having a glitch in his wrist that he's just going to have to take. He's probably going to sit out a couple of days or a couple of weeks. But if you can get Butler back with this team, I think you'll be okay.
Butler's going to be a key for sure.
Until he comes back.
I'm surprised, John, that Kiki Irfane is not on there.
I am too.
From USC.
I am too. I think, I think she's playing really, really well. But
I'll tell you another one, LSU. Michaela Williams is averaging 17 a game.
Yeah.
I mean, she's pretty good for LSU.
You want me to run?
To be honest.
You want me to run through our college basketball scoreboard? We usually do it on Tuesday nights.
Sure.
Okay. Loyola Marymount beat Pepperdine 69-60. Southeast Missouri State beat Little Rock 57-45. Illinois beat UCLA at home 83-78. Murray State beat UIC. University of Illinois Chicago 63-53. Northern Iowa beat Indiana State 88-73. George Mason just continues to keep winning in the A10. They're having a really fantastic season. 20-5, 76-74. Buffalo beat Northern Illinois 73-67. Kent State beat Central Michigan 91-83. Ball State beat Eastern Michigan 86-84. Ohio beat Bowling Green 86-81. Miami of Ohio beat Toledo 92-80. Akron wins again, Brad. 105-92. They have the nation's longest winning streak right now. Loyola Chicago beat Richmond 87-80. Miami knocked off Syracuse 91-84. What happened to Syracuse, by the way? They ain't even the same program anymore.
They need to rehire Jim Boeheim is what they need to do.
East Carolina beat UAB 82-75.
I don't care if he is 80.
Yeah. BYU beat West Virginia on the road 73-69. Cincinnati beat Utah 85-75. Marquette beat DePaul 60-58. Kansas State knocked off Arizona 73-70.
Go Blue Jays.
Iowa State beat UCF 77-65. Michigan beat Purdue 75-73. Kentucky defeated Tennessee 75-64. Florida dominated Mississippi State 81-68. Auburn beat Vanderbilt 80-68. Currently games going. Alabama is absolutely thrashing Texas right now. 87-66 on the road. Texas is probably falling apart right at this moment. So Georgia is behind 64-44 on the road at A&M. Indiana leads Michigan State by 4, 62-58 with 44 seconds to go. Kansas leads Colorado 69-56 with 1 minute to go in the game. Creighton trails UConn by 3 with 2:40 remaining to go, 65-62. North Texas is beating Rice 63-61. SMU's beating Pittsburgh 78-57. Penn State is getting beat to death on the road at USC 82-62. And the late games tonight are Santa Clara, St. Mary's, Northwestern Oregon, San Diego State, San Jose State, and Colorado State and Utah State. And Air Force.
All right, let's talking about Dusty May. Michigan beat Purdue tonight.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Just saying, Indiana, hello, knock, knock, knock.
Make a call.
I'm just saying.
Yep. So,
I mean,
great show tonight, Brad. We're doing some really good things here at Wildcat Sports Talk. What am I? I got confused. I'm still thinking about. I used to do it all. I used to do it all the time here at College Sportscast. We're doing some great things here at College Sportscast. I'm telling you, Brad. When I used to cover UK, we would do these post game things, and I get tongue tied, and I don't know why I do it, but it's just like a habit or something. But we're doing some good things here at College Sportscast. We're presented by Stadium Rant. We're doing some really good things with Stadium Rant.
John's writing articles left and right. Check them out, Stadium Rant. I've got, I'm writing articles too. I've got some stuff out right now on the junior motorsports. I put one out to do something a little different. I've been writing bi-monthly. I've been doing some SEC women's power rankings in basketball.
John's going to go for the double dip. He's going to try to get 30 out this month.
I've got one Thursday morning coming out on the huge lineup of women's college basketball for Thursday and Sunday. There's some really, really big games, including UConn versus South Carolina, Texas versus Kentucky. You got UCLA versus USC this week. You've also got Texas versus LSU. And you got NC State versus North Carolina this week. And I wrote an article that
we'll get to talk about Thursday morning. We'll get to talk about that Friday at Game Day Pick'ems. Should be
and this week, check it out. I know everybody pays attention to the men's side of things, but for the very first time ever, ESPN is taking College Game Day to Columbia, South Carolina, Sunday morning.
Yep. For UConn.
For the very first time, UConn versus South Carolina, two of the best coaches that's ever lived, taking two great programs.
Let's duke it out Sunday afternoon.
For the very first time, College Game Day will be there for a women's college basketball game.
In our Game Day Pick'em game of the week, we usually do the game of the week where we talk about it last. It's the it's the Auburn-Alabama game. So that will be the last game that we pick.
But I got some big ones this weekend on the women's side too. So check it out. Like I said, I got an article coming out. It'll be Thursday morning about 9:00 Eastern time coming out, and do a little bit of preview on those big games that I just talked about on the women's side.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This has been College Sportscast, the Big Fuss Show. Indiana, I'd be calling Dusty May. I'm just saying. If you can't get him, I'd be calling Bryce Drew. Just saying.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate you, man. Hopefully the 49ers can figure it out next year and get back to their winning ways.
What are you talking about? Hopefully. Ugh.
He's a 49ers fan, bro.
I know. But I would never see. Listen, Jerry, I like you. You're great. I'm not saying that. I'm sorry. I like you. I appreciate that you like the show. You're a good dude. You let me post those stuff. You're awesome. I'm not saying that.
Nope. I ain't saying it.
I ain't saying it, Jerry. I'm sorry.
Oh, goodness. I had to give Jerry a hard time.
All right, guys. The Big Fuss Show, week 25, season 3. This concludes. Y'all have a good one. We will see you guys Friday night.
See you Friday.
Can I please have your attention? There's all a commotion around here.
What are you talking about?
It's actually very exciting.